Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Comedian Rob Delaney's here. Rob, where can we see you next? And how do we follow you on Twitter? You got a gig coming up you want to plug or just Twitter?
Yeah. I'm going to be at Caroline's Thursday
great.
through Sunday, so please come.
Awesome. And what's your Twitter? How do we find
Just my name, Rob Delaney. Yeah.
So, by the way, I have to apologize. My co-host, John, is... sometimes during the commercials will say awkward things, and he was sometimes he tries to make conversation with the comedians. I feel John is intimidated by some of the comics. He makes small talk with them. It doesn't make any sense. We always tell the story that one comic came in here and said he was doing a gig at Caroline's on Sunday, and that Sunday happened to be Easter.
Yeah.
And during the commercial, John said he broke awkward silence by saying, "So you're going to do any Easter jokes?"
Love it.
The guy didn't even know it was Easter.
Love it.
So, but in this past commercial break. John turns to Rob and says, "You watch Game of Thrones?" And you said no, and he said, "Because there's a guy in there you look like." And as a joke, you said Peter Dinklage, funny, that was the midget. And John said, no, it's actually another guy.
The Hound.
And he said, it's a guy whose face has been horribly burned.
No, I said the good side of his face.
You didn't say that first. You said this guy's face has been horribly burned.
Yeah.
Well, and then he said, but you look like the good side of his face.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I said Peter Dinklage is because when I am clean shaven,
look
my
like
face,
him.
Structurally looks like his. So every day, people on the internet will be like, you look like Peter Dinklage, and they'll put pictures side to side where it's like, whoa,
well, he's
really?
like the stud of midgets. You know what you should bill yourself as? A kind of good-looking adult, an insanely good-looking midget. I know, no, midgets are adults, I guess. That was wrong. Now, so you were hearing us talk about me soaping. I can't reach myself in the shower.
Yeah.
And you had an issue where you broke both of your arms.
Yes.
And you were in jail, and you had a shower like that?
Yeah, well,
dude.
I drove drunk. I was in a blackout, and I drove into the Department of Water and Power in L.A. Nobody else was involved in the accident.
Oh, my God. It's just you in the Department of Water and Power?
I drove to the building. I never cared for that organization, so I drove to the building. And this is 11 years ago, of course. But anyway, after I got out of jail and I got court ordered to rehab, I had both my arms were in casts from my knuckles to the shoulder.
Oh,
and so but you still got to bathe, and I still had a little pride back then. Now you guys bathe me, I wouldn't even think about it, but why can't I not swear?
I do it all the time.
I'm so sorry. Anyway, such a scumbag. Anyway, but so I would bathe. I'd put trash bags around my arms to bathe. I would bathe every 5 days.
And were you in LA County?
Just miserable. No, I wasn't in jail for terribly long because they can't take care of you unless they bring you to a hospital jail in the condition I was in. So they were like, just if we bring you to your apartment, will you stay there? And I was like, sure. And then I had a court date, and the judge was like, hey, do you want to go to jail for a lot longer, or do you want to go to rehab and then live in a halfway house? And I was like, I'll do that one. I would prefer that option. And so, but then, bathing myself with 2 broken arms was super hard.
Because I was in LA County for a week, and I had to shower a few times.
Yeah.
And look, I got to tell you this. I was a 28-year-old man, and showering as a 28-year-old healthy man in jail is horrible.
Yeah.
With 2 broken arms.
Yeah.
Oh, maron.
Yeah, people were nice. I think that there's the element of
Can I help you?
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't be like, you didn't want to shoot fish in a barrel. You know what I mean? So anybody was like, hey, when you get better, then maybe we can get intimate. But right now, I'm not gonna. I mean, that would just be.
This is just ridiculous.
This is too low-hanging fruit. But
well, that is nice. That's nice. And so you went to rehab and you got sober there, and I mean, I was serious enough to where you've been sober since.
Well, I had wanted to quit drinking for a long time before that, and I had made various attempts. But with the accident, it was like, oh, my drinking could kill other people. And as a drunk or an addict, you don't care about yourself. You're like, oh, maybe I'll die. Who cares? But you don't. Most of the ones that I know don't want to take others out with them.
Right.
So
I'll tell you though, you deserve a lot of credit because I've been in rehab with a lot of these people. I go to AA. And a lot of them just say that, but I guarantee they like the high or being drunk more than the chance of killing somebody. I mean, for you to really
are certainly people like that.
For you really to walk that walk is impressive to me.
Well, I think probably since I've been trying to quit for so long, and the membrane between life and death for me at that point was so thin. When you're in a jail in a wheelchair, naked with 2 broken arms. And my legs were, I should mention, my legs were in leg stabilizers, which means I couldn't bend my knees. So I was just a disaster and emaciated. I weighed like 40 pounds less than I do
How
now.
long were you in jail for?
I wasn't even in jail for 24 hours.
Oh, okay, so you were at the hospital jail though, for a while?
And so then from there to rehab to a sober living halfway house. So the state of California told me where to live for a total of 4.5 months. But most of it was physically, like the external circumstances were pretty cushy. It was just my body that was a horrible prison.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, my father was a quadriplegic the last 4.5 years of his life. He fell off a roof working, and I think if you would have gave him the choice, be in prison or a quadriplegic, he would have taken prison in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So I think you had it worse. But what was the rehab like now? Because halfway houses, I got to tell you, I've had bad experiences with them.
Yeah.
The easiest place I ever got drugs was at a halfway house in Florida. Like, it was so
you
simple.
probably could, yeah. Because there were people who
But
would,
you took it seriously.
Yeah. Oh, there were people who died while I was there. It was awful. I mean, it was also fun too. And I don't mean to go from like awful to we had a lot of laughs, but like, when people are newly sober, you eat a lot of junk food and stuff because you want to get as high as possible from things like sugar. So I would eat.
Right, yeah.
We'd go and eat like 11 pounds of frozen yogurt, and then one guy would go shoot a speedball and die like the next day. I mean, it was so gnarly.
No, really. I've been through that, man. Where the people. They don't care. A lot of them are there because, either court appointed and they're not ready for this.
Yeah.
Or someone that they hate in their family is doing it for money reasons or something, and they're so rebellious, they just try to get high. Or the great thing is, there is no better person to bond with to watch a movie and eat junk food than abroad and rehab. That's fantastic. You think if you were in a better shape, you would have had a chance at some rehab romance?
Yeah, because I would try. Like, I would meet girls, and I'd be like, hey, do you want to go on a date? And they'd be like, under no circumstances. Like, they would just look me up and down. They'd be
Not
like,
even this circumstance?
Yeah, they would be like, what would you even do to me? What are you gonna, like, rub your nose on me? I mean, so I had nothing to
And you're
offer.
like, yeah,
I'll
do
give it a
that.
shot. I mean, I'll take what I can get, And they'd be like, no, call me in. And then they'd assess my damages, and they'd be like, call me in 9 months minimum.
Like, what are you, a doctor?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that works. They are, because chicks are so vulnerable. And I made out once with a smoking hot chick. We were both late. We were both late for group therapy. It's one of the hottest chicks I ever made out with in my life, and she was in there for methamphetamine. We're talking to the guy who wrote the book coming up here, and she was a doll. She's about 22 years old, and we're both late, and they wouldn't let us in the therapy. And we're just sitting there, kind of like two kids in the 10th grade and not allowed to, and we just start talking about how both of us are screw-ups. And what's great about it is they don't look at you like someone who's judging them. It's perfect. Everyone in their life that they just got their boyfriend, whatever, their family, they're judging them. I'm a loser like you, honey. That's right. I get you.
Yeah.
I understand you. Before you know it, you're making out with them. But then the problem is that you got to bang them before they come to their senses.
I remember this one anecdote I'll tell you pretty quick is there was a meth head in my in the rehab who was there because her husband had found a video, and at this point, back when I went, it was like a VHS cassette he must have found. Anyway, of her doing favors for her meth dealer for meth, and he was like, they had kids together though, so he was like, you got to get it together. I'm not just going to summarily dismiss you. I'm going to give you a chance to get better because of our kids.
Good person.
And so anyway, so she's there, and we actually were pretty good friends and stuff. Anyway, she had a friend visit, and she knew that my arms didn't work, so she was like, hey, listen, my friend Shelly, and she pointed at her friend. She goes, she'll S your D, and pointed at her friend, and her friend like shrugged. The allegedly normal one visiting her friend in rehab.
But that's what girls who are meth heads have friends like that.
Yeah. And so I was like, no, I like tripped over myself running away. And I honestly point to that moment when I said no to a beej. I can say a beej, right?
Yeah,
the moment that I said no to that particular beej is when I started to heal as a person.
A lot of girls do have friends who will give you oral sex, but unfortunately a lot of them are guys.
Yeah.